Hello students, today we will discuss some salient features of biostats. So first of all, positive predictive value, negative predictive value. And for these we encounter the word of chance. That is, what is the chance of having a test positive if a patient is having the disease. And the formula is very easy, all are positive. True positive divided by true positive plus false positive, and negative is all negative. So chance, you have to remember the word chance. Then there is an example in which we are checking the positive predictive value of a new test with the gold standard test of COVID-19. This new test is detecting that 150 patients, they have got positive COVID test, while in actual only 100 patients, they were positive. So it means that 100 were true positive, while false positive were 50. So how will we calculate positive predictive value? We will calculate like 100 divided by 100 plus 50. Then another term which we come across is sensitivity. For sensitivity, we will encounter the word of proportion in the exam. That what proportion of the people they have positive test if they have disease. So the formula is true positive divided by true positive plus false negative. So false negative is different here from positive predictive value. And specificity is true negative divided by true negative plus false positive. So again, it is different from negative predictive value by false positive. So after that, likelihood ratios. So for likelihood ratio, we encounter the word of odds. That what are the odds of having a test positive if patient has the disease, and what are the odds of person having not the disease if test is negative. So these are the definitions of positive and negative likelihood ratios. Then after that, we will come across certain more important terms, and these terms are standard deviation. It means that most of the data which we have calculated in our studies, how much it is deviated from the mean of that sample. So most of the data, it lies between three standard deviations. Standard deviation is deviation of the data from the mean. 99.7% data lies within three standard deviation, 95.5 within two standard deviation, and 68.3% data, it lies within one standard deviation. Then after that, we have got normal distribution standard deviation, and negatively skewed and positively skewed. But before that, we will learn the formula of standard deviation. As I have already told you, that standard deviation is actually measure of the data deviation from the mean. So square root of variance, while standard error is equal to standard deviation over square root of sample size. In a normal distributed curve, mean is equal to median is equal to mode. All of them, they are equal. Now, what happens in negatively skewed standard deviation? Negatively skewed means that the normal bell-shaped curve, the data is normally distributed, and it is so normal bell-shaped curve is in the middle, and negatively skewed data is more diverted towards left side, while in positively skewed it is more towards right side. Negatively skewed, mean is less than median is less than mode, and vice versa in positively skewed. Mean is, for example, if we have got two values like 2 and 2. So 2 plus 2 divided by number of values, that is 4 divided by 2 will be mean. While median is that if we arrange our values from least to most, the middle value is median, and mode is most frequently coming number or value, that is mode. Then what test we apply for this data? If data is normally distributed and it is measurable, there is student t-test which can be paired or unpaired, or for finding correlation between two variables, we use Pearson coefficient manometric test. While if the data is not normally distributed and it's not measurable, then we have another series of tests, that is paired. For paired test, we use Wilcoxon test, then Mann-Whitney's for ordinal, nominal or scale data, chi-square, proportion of the people getting two different interventions, and Spearman test is used for correlation. Now here this is very important, that what is paired data. Pairs data mean that the sample will be the same, and recordings will be taken from the sample before an intervention and then after an intervention. Then there are different type of studies. The most superior study is meta-analysis. Meta-analysis is actually analysis of different randomized controlled trial. So this is the most superior study than randomized controlled trial. Randomized means that people, they are randomly assigned an intervention, while other set of people, they are not assigned to that intervention. Then case control studies, obviously these studies are retrospective studies, and they are cheaper one because it is easy to interpret data if we go backward, and outcome is measured by odds ratio. Cohort study is prospective study, and its outcome is measured by relative risk. And then cross sectional survey, that is, we just measure a reading in group of people at a particular point in time. Now relative risk. Relative risk is calculated by experimental event rate divided by controlled event rate. And relative risk reduction or increase is calculated by controlled event rate minus experimental event rate divided by controlled event rate. Now let's take example. Now we will explain it with the help of an example. Are given Suppose we have got 100 and 90 people who are using paracetamol, they got pain, and out of this 100 people, 90 people they are having pain relief. Only so experimental event rate, that is, so event is pain relief, that is 90 divided by total paracetamol, that is 100. So experimental event rate will be 0.9, while the people who were using placebo, only 10 people they got pain relief. So control event rate will be 10. Now we have to calculate whether it will be equal to 0.1. So relative risk, which is a ratio, it will be calculated by dividing these two values, 0.9 divided by 0.1. Then relative risk increase or decrease is calculated by CER minus EER divided by minus. Usually if the ratio it comes in positive, it means that experimental event rate is more. After while if it comes in negative, it means that event rate is less. Then after that we will come to odds. Odds is outcome of basically case control studies. We actually do a retrospective study, and odds of exposed group is that the people who were exposed to a certain risk factor developing disease to the number of people who did not develop the disease but they were exposed. And similarly, non-exposed are the people who developed the disease divided by the number of the people who were exposed. So odds ratio will be calculated by dividing these two values. For example, we took 100 patients of CA lung, and then we traced them backward, and we found that out of these 100 people who had CA lung, for example, we took 100 people of cancer, and we traced them CA lung, we traced them backward, and we found that though 80 people who were exposed to smoking, they develop cancer out of 100. So odds of exposed group will be 80 divided by 20. Why we put 20 as a denominator? We actually subtract those people who were exposed but did not develop cancer. So odds of exposed group will be 80 divided by 20. While in relative risk, we do not subtract. We keep total number of people as a denominator. Then we found that 20 people of lung cancer, when we traced them backward, they were not exposed. So the cancer in non-exposed, what is odds of that? That is 20 divided by 80. So this is the odds of developing cancer in non-exposed group. And then we have to calculate odds ratio. So we will divide these two values together. The people who develop cancer in exposed group, the odds of the cancer in exposed group to the odds of cancer in non-exposed group, and that will give us odds ratio. Then after that comes a null hypothesis. Null hypothesis is, for example, if we are comparing two drugs, one new drug and one old drug, null hypothesis is that there is no difference in efficacy of these two drugs, while alternate hypothesis is that there is difference. Now we do we can do two types of errors when we are doing our studies. Type 1 error, which is called alpha error, and type 2 error, which is called beta error. Type 1 error or alpha error is when null hypothesis is correct but we mistakenly reject it. And type 2 error is when null hypothesis is false but we mistakenly accept it. Now, what is the power of study? It is actually the power to reject null hypothesis when it is really false, and its formula is 1 minus type 2 error. Power of study can be increased by increasing sample size. P-value is actually the chance of getting an extreme value in data collection, assuming that null hypothesis is correct. So, if p-value will be very, very small, for example, less than 0.05, it means that our study is accurate and the chances of getting any extreme value is very less and our study is effective and accurate.